you. And then there's also a suggested $5 donation envelope if you're able to do that on the sign-up sheet. We appreciate it. Thank you. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Oh, did you flip it? What just happened? Did you do that?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's make sure all cell phones are off. Dennis is in the house. Has Alexis saved you a seat?
I don't know, did she?
Let's see, I don't know. Right here? Okay, right on this side. Right on this side.
I gotta go up and down these
All right, let's make sure those cell phones are off. If you are new in the house, that is our one and only rule. No cell phones. No texting. No pretending that you're not on your phone, because we always know that you are. We can see the shine on your face. And people around here will call you out on it. All right. A couple announcements. Light up the big house. It's coming. It's actually a week from this Saturday. So boom, it's here. So Thanksgiving, I think, was a little late or something. So it's like a week from Saturday, December 7th. This is the place to be. Starting at, you can come and help set up at 2 o'clock. The party gets started about 3. And this is where we light up the big house, literally. We have cookie baking going on. Who is our cookie bakers? Wanda, and then Kelly Vogel and Chad and Shalane. They're cookie bakers. We can take another cookie baker, but we got cookie baking going on in the kitchen. We've got tree putter-uppers going on right there off the kitchen. We've got tables with gift stations going on in the big room, which I know Susie Buttinger is going to have her pennants again, which was so popular last year. They're super cool, you guys. You can make like a necklace for your mom or your sister or whatever. It's pretty cool. We've got Colette making coasters. And then we're looking for a couple different ideas too. I might have missed somebody. Somebody told me they were doing something, so come sign up. And I've already forgotten about you. So we're looking for 5 stations. But everybody coming out to the big house next week. I will have a sign up that you can put that you're coming, so we know how many we're kind of a round guest, so we can kind of plan food. We're asking for everybody to bring potluck style food too, but we're gonna kind of separate them, to make sure we don't have all cookies or all this or all that. We kind of want a variety of stuff. It always ends up working out. It's going to be a good time, so we want you all there. Giving Tuesday is coming up on Tuesday, December 3rd. So you're be watching Facebook for the post. Dalton is going to make us a cool, what are those things called? Those Facebook frames? Facebook frames. So Kristen, you put your frame up for Giving Tuesday, and so actually Dalton is going to battlefield eyes that and make it the battlefield thing, so then everybody can put their profile pictures, the battlefield logo for Giving Tuesday. So be watching for that so you can do it too. It's really easy to click because Dalton knows exactly how to hook you up. You just got to be watching for it when it gives you an opportunity and do that. And then Tuesday is a big giving day on Facebook where they match $7 million they match. So the sooner you give a donation, the better on Tuesday, and share it with your friends. We'll have a fundraiser going and all that good stuff. Last but not least, Tim has completed a special section on our website, exclusive content. So a lot of you request videos after Solution Group. And we do make our Solution Group videos available to our monthly partners. It's one of those perks. And those who help support this organization, we rely solely on donations and monthly partnerships to survive as an organization, to pay the cost of this building, the coffee house, and everything else that comes along with building an organization. And that's just one of the perks. Well, now, instead of requesting it through me all the time, you're going to have your special login code. So you now can go to battlefieldaddiction.com, click on exclusive content, create your own login, and then if you're a monthly partner, and then you're going to have access to these videos.
Sounds like porn.
So you will have access on your own to have, and then we'll keep loading the videos, and then you'll eventually have an entire library to go back. But Roger, let me tell you about Roger. I still must get your request every Tuesday night at 10:32 p.m. I look forward to his request. It's something I literally look forward to because it's it's been over a year now. He's been requesting the video, and he'll send me a nice little note, and it just makes me smile. A lot of times I'll screenshot it and send it over to Art because it's the best. So I would truly miss that. So with the exception of Roger, you can't have a login. I want to send it to you personally. I want to get your little notes. But everybody else, you're on your own. You can create a login. And if you're not already a monthly partner, please become one. You can become a monthly partner on our website, battlefieldaddiction.com. You can click donate, and then you designate your amount, and you keep that box checked that says recurring. So if you give, we have a lot of we have $25 monthly partners. We have $50 monthly partners. We have $100 monthly partners. Thank you to all of you guys. In fact, our $100 monthly partners get quite a few perks. They get the cool mug. They actually get group coaching too, unlimited. I've never announced that out loud, but that is actually a perk. I never charge $100 monthly partners for group coaching. You can come as often as you wish. You also get discounts for our workshop that I will be announcing here shortly, because Tim is also creating an order system, which, gosh, I love him. An order system to be able to do our registrations for our workshop online too. So we don't have to use Eventbrite and all those stupid fees. It's going to go directly, and he's finalizing that right now too. So we'll be ready for that next week. But what was my point to that?
Discount on workshop.
Yes, that was my point. That's where I was going. Our $100 monthly partners also get discounts on our workshops and all that kind of stuff too. So if that's something that you can afford as a family, please consider becoming a monthly partner, supporting this organization for any amount that you're able to do. You get a tax write-off donation letter at the end of the year as well for all of that. So, boom. Okay, I think. Oh, let me do this too. One more. Thanksgiving at the Big House is Thursday. If your loved one is at the Big House, or even if they're not at the Big House, you can still join us for Thanksgiving. Open to all. If you want to join us at the Big House, please do. Dinner's going to be about, I think, 4-ish, but you're welcome to come early, help us set up. Thanksgiving at the Big House is something that my family started. It was actually 5 years ago. Last week I said 4 years, but it's been 5 years that the Big House has been open this week. So the Big House opened in November of 14. My son, Devin, was just fresh out of treatment by like 3 days or whatever on Thanksgiving, but he moved into the Big House. He was one of the first kids there. He wasn't ready to come home for Thanksgiving. He had spent a lot of years in addiction on the streets. He wasn't ready to come home. We weren't really ready to have him home. And so we were like, we're going to come to you. So we joined the Big House for Thanksgiving that year, and it was incredible. And then we did it the second year, and the second year yet again, he was fresh out of treatment again. And again, we just absolutely enjoyed it. And then when he passed that first Thanksgiving without him, we were like, that's kind of weird. So we just said that's where we need to be. And so it is a really great time. It'll be what we always do as long as they'll have us. And if you all want to join us, I know Colette's joining us. Sam is joining us. And somebody else. Well, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer's joining us. And if there's anybody else out there that wants to join us, please do. All right. Are you ready, Art? Are you all, was there no seats up here? You're all good? It's just like overflow. We got overflow going. You're good. Okay.
That's
all
Alex.
right. That is a beautiful spot though, right? It's not Peter?
No, that's Alex, but you should be called Peter.
Yes, this is Alex. Hi,
I don't
guys.
like, yeah.
I'm really glad you guys are all here, and you guys actually have really cool seats. So, okay, Art, take it over.
I think some people name their babies wrong.
Oh, this is an awesome gift.
I see this.
Yes, from Jamie Stevens.
Yeah,
Isn't that so cool?
I guess. It's
Beautiful.
chocolate.
It's really beautiful. I actually don't want you to
Yeah.
open it. It's just like the presentation is so
That little baby down there, his name's really Alex, but I think that they misnamed him because he looks like a Peter to me. So some people just don't know how to name their babies right, you know? Can't hear me. What happened? Is that better? He looks like a Peter.
No.
Yeah, he does. Very cute. I don't know. Some people just get it wrong. I was watching that movie. Have you ever seen this movie, Baby's Mama, with Steve Martin and Amy Poehler? Well, it has Steve Martin in it, and she brings the baby. They bring this baby to Steve Martin, and he goes, "I want to give that baby my mojo." And Steve Martin puts his head against the baby, and he goes, it was really funny. Sometimes you gotta see that movie, Baby's Mama. It's pretty funny. Yeah, And Steve Martin's in it, and he's this like guru, but then he says, I want to give that baby my mojo. So I tried to give that baby my mojo. I don't like the cranberries sauce. You guys like the cranberry sauce? I'm not a big fan of this 3-bean casserole thing that people want to throw down my throat. I'm good. I think traditionally you need to stick to the turkey, the stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, and I think that will do it. You know? I really don't think you don't need to get much more fancy than that.
Apple pie, no pumpkin.
Apple pie? No pumpkin? I don't know.
Rolls and butter.
Still like the skin on the turkey. I'm a big fan of the skin. You can tell. How many calories in a turkey? I don't know. Yeah. I saw this one guy, he told me about, the guy, Cheston's dad, he explained to me that in Alaska they debone the turkey and he lays it out on a table, all the parts of the turkey, he lays it out on a table, and then he smokes it in a smoker. I thought, man, that sounds pretty good. See all those people deep frying turkeys and they always have the fire. I don't know, I'm pretty excited. I like the turkey to come out right when the 4 o'clock or the 1 o'clock football game ends. And I like it to come out and get served between that game ending and the new game beginning. I don't like to interrupt the football games for that pesky dinner. You know? or just have to talk about gratitude or thankfulness or anything like that. All that bullshit. This year I think I'm going to try to be better at that though.
Just say I'm thankful to you and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like when the football game ends though, about 8, and then you watch a movie with everybody. I like that. Or I like maybe even going to the movies. Sometimes people go to the movies on Thanksgiving. That's a good one. Last week we talked about, this thing that these kids are really, I like it because the kids can, when I say kid, believe me, they're all adults, but they just kind of gotten bigger over their life. They haven't gotten to the point of adulthood yet. But for me, I spent 36 years on this planet just getting bigger. And I didn't become an adult. So yeah, I didn't grow up. I just got bigger. So a lot of us have that issue. So we talk to the kids and they understand what it means. And we talked a little bit last week about what it means to get authentic with our inauthenticity and what that work starts to look like. And the first thing that you got to do is what we said last week was I said I give you a challenge and I said just go ahead for a week, just start clearly watching the words that fall out of your mouth and watch your behaviors and your actions and see if you could really see any holes in your motivation or false motivation. And I think that's the start of this thing, is that we begin to look at our own motivation for the things we say and the things we do, and we really begin to look at what motivates us. And I think that if we really start looking into what motivates you, what you'll see for the most part, and what I saw for the most part, is that what motivated me, basically my life was just this cover-up, and what motivated me was just to look good. And the other thing that motivated me was to not be dominated. I didn't want to be dominated, and I wanted to dominate, which means I didn't want the short end of the stick, and I didn't want the score being run up, and you can't take from me more than I can give to you, and you can't tell me I'm wrong. And I used to get in lots of fights about being wrong, about being right. I wanted to dominate people with my rightness. I wanted to make sure they knew I was smarter than them. And when I started looking into my motivation, that was definitely true. Most of my life was a cover-up for the fact that I didn't know if I was better than people, and I wanted to make sure I was. And so most of my motivation, although I hit it very well, most of my motivation was to dominate you in some way. You know, the silent treatment, that used to be something I used on people when they didn't get my way, and I tried to dominate them. And I had all these passive-aggressive, and I had what I call it now is I had all these ways to use, offensive pass interference. I want you guys to look. What it means to do offensive pass interference is that you're a wide receiver and you're not willing to run a good route. And you don't have the speed, you don't have the skills to create separation, so instead you use a push-off. And I think that a lot of people, they want to be better than other people, and they don't know that they're using offensive pass interference, like criticism, or like belittling, or like sarcasm, or like jokes. And it's really offensive pass interference that I used to use to try to clear space to let somebody know that I was better than them. And I had all these ways to do that. And most of my motivation was really centered around the fact that I wanted people to know I was smarter than them, or better than them, or more right than they are. And that really was, when I got honest with it, that was really what motivated me. And then if I was to help people, it wasn't truly to help people. I didn't really care about people. I cared about looking good. And it looked good when I helped you. It looked good when you gave me credit. It looked good when you said, oh, I owe my life to you, Art. Something like that was kind of the motivation. But I didn't know that I didn't know that until I started looking into this thing. But basically, all this work started out, and I didn't know what the goal was. See, there was a goal with drug use, and it's going to be the same goal that I'm going to tell you now. There was a restless and irritable and a discontent about me. I couldn't sit still. That was just true. I couldn't sit still, and I didn't have any calmness inside. And I sought that out. And so I didn't understand this word, and I didn't know what this word meant, and all this work has been done, and just only recently I started looking into this word, and the word is called equanimity, and it says mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. That's what drugs did for me. It gave me, that's what I thought it was, really helping me achieve, was a mental calmness, composure, and an even temper, especially in difficult situations. So I used drugs to attain equanimity. I used drugs for that purpose, because I could sit still, because I was calm, because I could handle things, because I could accept anything if you gave me drugs. And so when I got sober, I didn't really know what the goal was, because nobody had explained it to me. Nobody had explained what it is that I was really seeking. Nobody explained that what you're really just seeking, Art, is calmness, even-temperedness, a relaxing of this insecure, traumatized energy that I was. And it's really weird to say that we're traumatized, because a lot of people might sit in this room and go, I don't know, I didn't get traumatized. I didn't have bad parents, or I didn't have this, that. Yeah, you know what the traumatized comes from? This fact that we spend our life trying to look good always. So the trauma is that our energy never feels like it's appropriate, or our energy never feels like it's good enough. So the trauma comes in this constant seeking of even and calmness, and this idea or this illusion that we live under, that when we get something done, or we fix something, or we buy something, or we get something next, that we're going to attain this state of equanimity. We think that the house is going to give us this state. We think that our car is going to give us this state. We think that if we get a new girlfriend, we're going to attain that state. So this illusion that once we get this, we're going to be in equanimity, we're going to live that way, and it just never comes. That's traumatizing. To have this energy about us that constantly needs something and never is okay with itself. So we live, and I never knew the goal, all this work, all the getting authentic about my own inauthenticity, and what it really came was first just to crack open and get underneath the cover-up of looking good. Because if you don't start that, if you don't see that your life has been about looking good and about not getting the short end of the stick, if you don't see that now, you will get nowhere towards equanimity, because you will constantly have this energy about you that's fraudulent. And the energy will say, no, I'm not trying to look good here. There's another reason I'm doing this. No, I'm just buying a house because I want shelter, or whatever it is. I don't have that illusion about me that it's going to fix things. I don't need the job because I'm going to reach this state. All right, I need this job because whatever. I'm set out to do it, whatever the alibi is. So I didn't know. I didn't know that, from the start of my life, nobody gave me the goal. Nobody said when I was 4 years old, you know what the best thing that you can be, Art? Is you could live in equanimity or have equanimity. Nobody ever said that to me. They didn't say to have mental calmness throughout your life and to handle life. Really learn to be a pilot of your own life. We're sitting here and we're all really wondering, how do we pilot our life? How do we have it smooth and have it flow and just be at peace? How can we do that? But nobody tells us that's even the goal, so we don't have that as a goal. So we set all these goals that set us up. Because it doesn't say, hey, pilot your life now and just attain this state of mental calmness and how to go about the business of that. And so in this room, it's just a lot of different ways to say, we're trying to get you. Now the answer and the solution isn't in equanimity. That's not the answer, is just to achieve equanimity. The answers will show up when you achieve equanimity. There is no answers available in your life. No clarity to get the answers until you achieve this state. Name anything that you've done that has improved your life. It will always be done from this state of equanimity. Name anything that you've done to damage your life. It will always be from a state of resistance and disturbance. So we're trying to attain this state not because the answer is this state. We're trying to attain this state because simply that's when the answers will appear. And simply that's when there is a possibility to feel and experience love. This isn't a mental calmness so I don't feel. This is a mental calmness so I actually feel deeper. So I actually am available to other people and there's not something in the way. So this actually attaining this state, answers appear. The ability to help other people and calm their energy then appears. How can we help anybody if we're not in this state? And how can others be around us when we're not in this state? We want everybody else to be in this state, don't we? Don't we want to be around people that are in a state of equanimity, that are in a state of mental calmness? We want that. In fact, we seek that. Except we're not willing to do the work to attain that state ourselves. And so we just want it from others. And that's what we're saying whenever we want other people to change. We're saying, you need to attain a state of mental calmness. But not me. I'm going to go about the business of yelling at you, and I'm going to dominate you, and I'm going to do whatever I do to try to get you to be calm. I used to always seek out. I wanted to so deeply. I was raised from dominance. I had dominant, authoritative figures. And I aspired to be one of those. Because that's what I thought was cool. I thought the coolest guy in the room was the guy that told everybody to shut the hell up, and they did. So that was what I wanted to be. I said, I want to be the guy that gets to tell everybody to shut up, and they actually do. And I wanted to be the boss that got to come out on the floor and not work very hard, not do much, but then just come out and tell everybody to get to work, and they did. So I aspired to be like my leaders, but none of them said, wait, we're trying to achieve a calm state. Easy, son. Nobody worked towards securing the energy. So my energy was constantly looking up for approval, constantly looking to be more than it was. And I used to hear Gabor Mate or whoever it was talked about addiction coming from trauma, and I didn't buy it. I didn't understand it. But this state of constantly seeking is traumatic. This state of never being at peace inside your body is traumatic. This constant illusion that you're just going to get something that puts you at peace but never comes. An entire lifetime of trying to be put in a state of calmness by something out there and it never shows. That's trauma. And now to stop this process and to sit here and say, if I want to help my loved ones, I have to do it from a state of equanimity. I have to help them from this calm place. And if I'm a drug addict in this room, I want to be able to achieve this state without the use of drugs. And then I also want to be able to provide that state for my family members. So now it's no longer that. You know what's cool to me now and what I aspire to be is the guy right here. The guy that has a mental calmness, composure, and an evenness temper, especially in difficult situations. That's what I want to be today. And that's the only thing that is measured on my recovery. Nobody gives a shit about my house. Nobody gives a shit about my car. Nobody gives a shit about my property. Nobody cares nothing about my story, nothing. What they care about is this. And if I don't have this, I have nothing. If I don't have this state of mental calmness and composure and evenness temper, especially in difficult situations, if I don't have that, what do I have to offer anyone? What do you have to offer anyone if you don't have that state? So really, you see, we haven't even learned this word as human beings. And that's insane. That this word isn't given to us as a goal from the time we're young. And this isn't the goal for a 4-year-old kid that's sitting in a 5-year-old kid that comes to kindergarten. He's not taught equanimity. He's not taught that. He's taught to get in the game. He's taught to start competing really early on. Oh, that's a pretty picture you painted, but not as good as Jimmy's, whatever they're doing. And imagine the trauma that starts coming from that. And all of a sudden, we just put these kids in the game, and it's not about sitting still. It's not about you're enough already. It's not about you got everything right there. Easy, son. It's about be more. Hurry up. And this is the traumatic state that we're putting people in. And then when they don't do it, you know what we do? We yell. And we say, do it faster and hurry up. And that's what our leaders have done all along. And we come from this dominance. And this is a tough pattern to break. So the discussion in this room is really to attain this state. It's really defined within us, and it's true. It has to be here. You have to have it already. You just have to find it, and you have to sit with it. We're talking about coming up towards gratitude or Thanksgiving, and I want to say, I'm so tired of people's gratitude list. Shut up with that. You ain't grateful for shit. You ain't been grateful, you've been complaining all year. Now you want to take 2 minutes and tell me what you're fucking grateful for? I don't buy it. What about actually, you know what I'm grateful for? Sadness. You know what I'm grateful for? Frustration. Because the only way I learn to attain equanimity or to get along the lines of this or to get closer to it is through sitting with my frustration, sitting with my sadness, sitting with my disturbances, sitting with my insecurity. So those are the things that I have to be grateful for. I have to learn to sit with those things. Without those things, there is no state to attain. Without going inward to those states. So when this shows up for you, when you can sit here and say, you know, I'm really grateful that my kid is an addict. I'm really, truly grateful. I'm truly grateful for addiction. Because without it, I couldn't have looked into what was causing all these pulling and tugging and all these different states that I couldn't stay out of, that the turbulence that was my life that I never knew how to fly through. And so before this addiction thing showed up, I was just basically a victim of turbulence. And with the turbulence showing up, I learned to fly in turbulence. I learned to attain a state of calmness that now I can pilot my family and generations in my family. And I no longer come from this dominant energy. I no longer dominate my kids and hand that down so they can dominate their kids. I now operate from a place of equanimity that allows solutions and love to be possible. And that's what we're doing here. So you come here, the solution isn't that. The solution is equanimity. The solution is this state of calmness. Now in that state, answers will show. But if you don't get to that state and you don't have this thing inside of you where you're working on that and that's your primary purpose, the answers will never show for you and you're constantly asking what the answer is. So if you're coming here every week wanting to know the answer, that's not the answer. If you're coming here every week, the answer is to be practicing this state. To actually learn to breathe, to sit, to feel it. Everything. Not to run from frustration. Not to distract yourself from it. Not to chatter with chatter. Not to self-talk. This isn't about self-talk. This isn't about gratitude lists. This isn't about affirmations. This is about energy and calming your own. This is about attaining a state of calmness. It's not about what you put up on the mirror and what you do for yourself and your nails and your massages and all that bullshit. This is about attaining a state of calmness, and nobody can come for you to help you do this. This is you sitting with energy that you weren't willing to sit with before. And because you weren't willing to sit with it before, you blame the world about that energy. And this is about learning to sit with those energies and being grateful for those. The first time I was ever grateful for sadness was about 4 years ago. And I literally had gratitude for sadness. And I was feeling sad. And for the first time in my life, I said, man, I'm going to enjoy this. And I went and got a cup of tea. And I sat by myself with the sadness. And I experienced it. I just swam around in here. And it's great. And that's with every one of these things that you've ran from before. You can't achieve equanimity if you're not grateful for all of it. If you're not grateful for this human experience. You get to be frustrated today. You get to be upset today. You get to be angry. That's a human experience that you should be amazed that we even get the opportunity to have. But not us. We're mad at it. So it only begins when you truly begin to live with gratitude for every experience that is granted to us. And each one of these, you can't have one without the other. You can't have the good or the bad. It says right here after that. The sentence, she accepted both the good and the bad with equanimity. I know you want the good. And I know we're so good at claiming the good. And we're so good at taking responsibility for our success. But we're so bad at being okay with the bad stuff. And we rationalize and justify ourselves and defend ourselves and cover up that we're running from that shit. Tell somebody they're not doing something right. Oh my God. Tell somebody that what they think might be wrong. Oh my God. We're not even willing to be humble enough to acknowledge that maybe what we think isn't right. We want to dominate and we need to be right. My parents used to have this perpetual fight when we would go to the grocery store about the parking spot. It was like fucking Groundhog Day every time we pulled into it's like, we could get an inch closer. Just pull into the back and park and maybe we'll walk some fat off us. But instead, they're like, fucking, we're going through every aisle. I'm listening to my mom and dad try to win about being right and who's right about the best. I told you we'd get the best one. Fuck. My father fought with his next door neighbor. My dad was dying. He had about 5 years left to live. In his last 5 years, he spent 2 of them in a lawsuit with the neighbor behind us over 6 inches of land. They're just in this war in courtrooms. My dad's on oxygen. He's got to take a scooter down to the courtroom. And here he goes, scooting down to it. I'm like, what are you doing? Just move the fucking fence. Give her the land. Oh no, Mom. They'll take everything next. The last couple months of my mother's life. Arthur, will you go get the mail? I get the mail. She opens up the Comcast bill. Where's the phone? I go, what are you doing, Mom? We're calling Comcast. Why? Because they told me that it would be $199.38, and it's 2:01. I'm calling them. 35 minutes on, 3 hours on Comcast hold or whatever it is. Did we save the dollar, Mother? Yeah, we did. Yeah, they were wrong. They fucking great. Jesus. My parents were about the business of not being dominated and dominating. They didn't know that they didn't know that. You were not going to give my dad the short end of the stick. I don't care where you were at. He's going to be at a gas pump. He's pumping the gas and making sure the gallons line up with what it says on the thing. Are you sure they gave us all 21 gallons? How do we know? Fucking coupon for the Whopper. Me and Dad driving up to Burger King. Got a coupon, Dad? I guess he didn't have much to do. He used to sit and clip all the coupons, and then we found an email that he sent my sister right before he died. It was a call out to my sister to secretly go to Bartell's and buy all this food he wasn't supposed to get. It's like a secret mission. He emailed my sister and he emailed the rest of us. Okay, need you to go to Bartell's. You got jujubes, cashews, dots. They're all on sale. Don't tell your mother. Bring it in. Okay, Dad. He had a pantry downstairs in the garage. If you live at Mom's house now, you know what I'm talking about. There was these shelves. So my father would have me go downstairs, and he would go, he'd get me, it was like a restaurant. We had par levels. He printed out like a spreadsheet, had like 5 ketchups. And then he would go down there, he goes, is there 5 down there? And I go, no, there's only 2 ketchups, Dad. And he'd go, order 3. So we had to stock back up to the par level of the pantry. We never tapped in. He would literally, it was like, okay, I need you to go down and inventory the pantry, son. I'm like, okay, Dad. So most human beings don't ever get out of the business. Domination business, being right business, winning at all costs. You know, Travis said something profound to me the other day. He said, you know, Art, when I'm dealing with people, it just always seems like they're running up the score. That's just how we've learned to live. You know, I can't let you take my pencil because I don't know what's next. My wife, my house. So right now somebody's in an office today and they're bitching about Betty that stole her pencil, or Mike that keeps stealing her pen. And that's what they're focused on. And the pen is now just a symbol for what Mike takes next if I let him take the pen. And so it just becomes this whole thing that we just become about the business. And if you came here and you probably knew, I would say that you came here with, and you don't know that you don't know this, but you might have walked in the room tonight and you had 2 things on your mind. 1, I'm not going to say anything stupid and I'm going to look good. And 2, they're not going to con me. And if you came here and you got real honest about your drive here, I think that those 2 things would be at the forefront of your mind. I'm not going to let these people over in this group con me. I'm going to make sure I don't say anything stupid. And that might be your primary purpose in coming here tonight, to not get conned and to not get shorted, and then to make sure you don't say anything stupid. And that's sad. But that's what we're about. We're not about achieving equanimity. We're about making sure we look good and making sure nobody cons us. And I'm not going to believe what they're running down. And you might not even have came here to get any information. You might have came here to prove the information wrong. If you got really honest about your motivation, you might be coming here just to see what a crock of shit I am. True. When I started getting honest with myself, I found that most places I went, I didn't go there for anything that they were offering. I went there to prove what they were offering was absolutely wrong. And that's everybody. I don't go to a restaurant to prove that it's good. I go to a restaurant to prove it's bad. I go there to bitch. Equanimity. I didn't ever know that was what I was after, but it was true. Boy, heroin does that trick, doesn't it? If you've ever done heroin, you know a state of equanimity is right there and it's available for you. Mental calmness, especially in tough situations. In fact, you might even sleep through them. I'm so goddamn calm, we'll go ahead and take a nap while all you guys are doing what you're doing. You ever see people smoke that have done heroin? Boy, equanimity. Making love to that cigarette. I always know someone's high because they're making love to their cigarette. It's slow and... He's high. They don't smoke like that on meth. You don't even have time for a cigarette on meth. Really, you don't see many meth users smoking that much. It's the heroin addicts. They got time for a long cigarette. Then it just keeps burning. You're like, are you gonna flick that thing? It's scary. They got burn holes in the scary. Yeah, burn holes everywhere. Jeez. Okay, so if you're new and you came here and you didn't want to get conned, well, we could do that too. But in this room's been conned they just kind of okay with it now. So. Believe me, I drive here every day going, look at those dummies, they're still there. I drive in the parking lot, what? They don't know. I used to just drive around and smoke crack around here. Didn't know anyone. Now they're listening to what I say? Whoa. Misdirected people. But I don't know. Everybody's pretty misdirected. You know, there's 13,000 homeless people in Seattle. And I just want to give you a little heads up about that because, you know, I find that it takes about a staff of 5 people to hold one person accountable that's suffering from drug addiction and mental illness. So imagine the gravity of that. Imagine not just does it take 5 staff members, I also find that it takes an entire family. So all of us that have been through it, we know that just to help aid in the transformation of a person's life that's suffering from mental illness or drug addiction, it takes a whole team of people around that person. Now imagine what it's going to take to help those 13,000 people. Imagine how somebody would have an answer to that dilemma. Imagine the power of addiction that's taken the resistance that people must be feeling in their life to continue to use and to get in this state that everything is in. There is no equanimity. What a state that they're all trying to seek. And then look at what it's going to take to get those 13,000 people and even more than that transferred over and to get on this path without drugs. Very, very difficult situation. And I don't even hear anybody on the right track because they're not even talking about accountability. They're not talking about how difficult it's all been for us to hold our loved ones accountable. And you don't even hear that word mentioned. So if they're not even saying that word accountability out there, how can they even be close to the right track? Very scary. You know, 13,000 people, in my eyes, it would take 10 people for each one person. We'd be looking at 130,000 people just to help those people, and it would have to be done right. It's insane. So all of you are here for that. Learning how to make a difference in the lives of our loved ones and hold them accountable with equanimity. Because we all know that yelling and punishment, we've tried all that. And that's why we're here, because we've tried all that shit. We've tried all the lecturing, we've tried all the yelling, we've tried all the punishment, and then we try battlefield. And the only way we're going to end up helping you is to see that there's a reason why you can't attain this state. And only when you make this your primary purpose do we have a chance. And no, this doesn't mean we lack something. This means we're opening up to new possibilities, that things aren't in the way of experiencing love. Believe me, when you experience love, you'll also be experiencing this state. And you have never experienced love outside of this state. Trust me, you haven't ever once experienced love outside of the state of equanimity. You've experienced frustration, domination, anger, guilt, resentment, but not love. Okay. And I never knew that this was what it was about either. It just showed up that way. All right.
Who's first?
Now listen, you can do anything you want here. It's okay. A lot of you have come here tonight because you can't attain this state. because you've been disturbed, you've been upset, and you don't know how to deal with it. And it's okay to not cover that up. It's okay to say, I came here tonight because I'm upset about this. That's fine. We can talk about that. And you might get something that's in here that's disturbing you out there, and it might make you feel better. And that's okay, but we're not going to coddle you, but we're not also going to, you can puke that stuff up.
What did you say?
Chocolate, though, you know, Jamie, you know that my whole life is about not eating that right now.
When have you achieved that, though, Art? I mean, eat it up. Eat it up because you said.
Oh, that's what she was saying it
next
for.
Monday.
No, what happened was, I went on a 7-day diet. I went on a 7-day diet in anticipation of this real intimate relationship. I don't know if any of you have had this, but for a week, just because I quit eating bad food, I spent 1 week obsessing and having an intimate relationship with a scale. I've never had this happen in my life, but it sat outside the shower, and then I looked at it while I was showering, and then I got on it, and I found when I was lightest in the day and when I was heaviest, and I liked to get on it at certain times, and certain times I didn't, and I was really just kept drilling this same weight over and over all week, and then I took the day off. I took 4 days off the scale, and I was so excited because I missed the scale. And I was going to come home on Monday morning, and I was going to get on that thing, and I knew for sure that I'd lost 4 or 5 pounds. I had it figured for sure. And I jumped on that thing, and it weighed the exact same. I hadn't lost any weight. And I'd really tried. I really thought I'd made an effort, you know? And so I was devastated, so then I said, get me some pizza. And yesterday I got some pizza and some cheese bread. Some of the best cheese bread you've ever had. Pizza pizzazz. And then it happened for the first time. And this is very serious because I want you guys to know that I didn't quit drugs because of a lot of the reasons that people quit drugs. You know, some people quit drugs because they're tired of drugs. I didn't ever get tired of drugs. I never did. I never had the experience of doing drugs and then not liking it. But what happened was I had a family that stood for me, and they made it impossible for me to do drugs anymore. And they told me if I did drugs anymore, I would lose their love, and I couldn't be with them anymore. And when I gave up drugs, I gave it up for them. That was truly it. I did not want it for myself. In fact, I even told Shelly today, I said, there was a point when I was about 2 weeks sober that I truly, truly wished my entire family was dead so that I could do drugs without guilt. I wanted them to be dead so I could do drugs without guilt, and that's as honest as it gets. And so now this new experience with food, with the world not telling me I can't eat bad, and the world kind of joking and playfully about it, but me eating and then experiencing what it feels like after that, I now see what people experience when they, get tired of doing drugs. But for the food thing now, I get really, really. So it's Monday, I ate poorly, and it just cost me deeply today. And I can feel the difference. So I'm now getting to the point where I actually want to quit eating bad food for me. And I don't need no jokes, Angie. I don't need your comments. I also don't need unsolicited advice and green baby food. So, yeah. I'm actually thinking about, this is what I want. I just want to go to a resort, and I want them to feed me for 30 days. I don't want to do your stupid groups. I don't want to do sessions. I don't want to look into the deeper reasons why I eat hot dogs. I just want you to feed me some chicken breasts and some veggies for 30 days and teach me to eat better. That's it. And I'll pay whatever. But every place I've looked, they want to bill my insurance, and they want me to go to group and sit with a therapist, and I don't want that. I want some good food cooked to me and prepared, and that was it. I'll just go there 30 days, and then you give me what you cooked me in a menu and say, cook that now when you leave. That's what I want. And I want to lose like 20 pounds while I'm there, and I want a pool, and I want it hot, and I want a beach, and I want to watch movies. I don't want to do your deal. I don't know what.
Sound like everyone that comes to the big house.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you hear him? Ellen
Yes.
said that sounds like everybody that comes to the big house. It absolutely does.
Yeah. Yeah, they know coming to the big house, it ain't that. They're looking at that big green house going, that ain't the resort I signed up for. My parents, yeah, they're looking at the brochure, this shit don't match. I said today, I said, the big house is like the world is a tub and the big house is the drain. You're going down the drain. You will end up at the big house. We will force that to happen sooner or later, as long as we meet your family. And then everybody just, I'm going to, that was King County was a drain for me. I always knew I was going to swim around, but I'm ending up there. I know I'm going to jail. And I always did. Jail was like the drain. Questions?
All right.
Comments?
Who's first? Come on now. How about let's say, do we need to say hi to Troy over here?
Yeah, I don't think I did. I already talked to him
Did you?
outside.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, fabulous. Already said
Yeah.
hi. Okay, great. Awesome. Who else? Where's our new people? Let's see. Matt's here tonight for his first. Very good. Next.
You know, a very honest question would be how?
How?
I mean, how?
How to achieve equanimity?
Yeah, how?
Yeah.
I mean,
That'd be
really.
a great question. Yes. Dennis. Dennis asks, how do you achieve equanimity?
The first thing you have to do is look. I think that for the most part, we're unwilling to look. We're unwilling to look at what frustration is. We're unwilling to look at what anger is. We're unwilling to look at what this inner resistance feels like inside of our bodies. We're unwilling to acknowledge that it's just our blood pressure rising. We're unwilling to look at these things that people that we've been avoiding for so many years and we don't want to happen to us. So we spend our life looking out for danger. We spend our life getting away from people that cause different feelings inside of us. And we run from situations and we try to just put ourselves in situations where it's just where people tell us and do and say all the things we want them to tell us and tell to us and do and say. So we surround ourselves with people that don't hit anything inside of us. And we run from situations that hit things inside of us. And the first way to start achieving equanimity is to walk towards these situations. You want to learn how to deal with fire, you have to walk towards it. And I think that becomes the primary purpose, is that everything in your life that has shown up like a complaint, every single thing that has showed up like a complaint, you now see as an opportunity. If it isn't true that that's your formula, you won't be able to achieve this state. The formula has to be having gratitude for everything that you used to run from. Anger, frustration, disappointment, jealousy, insecurity, fear, to just learn how to sit with these things. I think it's important that we see that it's a flip, that everything that showed up like a complaint, right now, look at anything that's causing you unhappiness, and I bet right there, look, there will be a complaint right there. Look over the landscape of your life. And the reason you are unhappy, anything that you will see that is you think is causing you unhappy, just go ahead and look. And it's showing up like a complaint for you. And the way to achieve equanimity is to turn those complaints into opportunities. And to walk towards those fires. So every relationship that shows up like a complaint, every boss that shows up like a complaint, every coworker that shows up like a complaint, that's your racket. That's where you're being right. That's where you're being superior. And that's the cause of your unhappiness, and you don't even know that you don't know that. Because you'd rather be right than be happy. You'd rather be right than calm. And for the most part, I would have much rather have been right and made somebody else out to be wrong than to be calm. It was only when calmness became the primary purpose that I had to look into what was the underlying lack of it. See, it's a real thing for you to walk in this room and hear that addiction is the biggest opportunity that's ever came in your life. It's a real thing that we're sitting in this room and it is not showing up like a complaint. Because you go anywhere and it shows up like a complaint. Well, geez, what do you think is going to happen to those people that addiction shows up like a complaint to? See, those people don't even know that with addiction showing up like a complaint, they would rather be right than enjoy your life. You would rather attain the drama and the validation of your self-importance to say that you've been a victim of something rather than to say it's an opportunity. People would rather be a victim than have an opportunity. Because seemingly, somehow, when I tell the story about me and I come out to be a victim, somehow I think that gets me somewhere with people. And somehow people have falsely made us believe that. In fact, so much so that we'll sit with other people and tell them how big of a victim we are, and then they will try to one-up us. You think you're a victim? Let me tell you about me. So you see two mothers that are maybe, possibly, not anybody here, but it's possible that two mothers that have addict kids are actually going to talk about who's got it worse. And the one that seems to have it worse drives home happier. Like I won something. She ain't shit. I need to find a new friend.
Okay, Chris has something.
So, or just along those lines, I find it absolutely amazing that the thing that created mental calmness in my life and improved my life was my kid's addiction.
Yeah.
It turned my life upside down through that process until I learned how to have a mental calmness about the situation. Nothing got better until I got there.
Yeah.
And when I got there, my son started getting better.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing. It's a weird thing. It's so
Yeah.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But that's my story.
That's beautiful. Well, it's so true that we just try to dominate the situation. That's our first move.
That was my go-to move.
Yeah. I used to teach that move. Because it worked for me. My dad dominated me and he ended my addiction, so I used to think it worked for everybody. It doesn't.
Okay, we're getting rolling now.
Okay.
Here's Bruce.
Last week you gave us some homework.
Yes.
What motivates me to talk about myself and track it for a week
Yeah.
and take notes. So what I've got written is pride of accomplishments, goals met. When someone asks me how I'm doing, I got to talk about me. You know, it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Paying attention to it. I didn't catch that full meaning, but we talked about it on the way here. And I think I recall it as the voice in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And under reading The Untethered Soul, I found the book.
Yeah.
So that's a start. Fraudulent motivation, things you do and don't mind getting caught doing, helping others. And as an artist, which we both are, in my situation, frustration, not being able to accomplish what I want to as far as getting my message out through my art. I welcome criticism because, I used to hate that because it put me down. I'm not good enough, stuff like that. But I welcome it today because it helps me become a better person, a better artist, get to accomplish what I'm after. And as an artist, it also helps me with meditation. And so that's all I've got.
So you didn't find any motivation to be fraudulent?
Other than just, like she was saying, to help others.
Yeah. Why would you want to help others?
You feel good,
Yeah.
and it helps them to feel better.
Why do we think we feel good?
Self-recognition. It all kind of comes around to that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the big one for me.
He wants to hand it over. He's done.
No, I know. I could go down the road. I think it becomes so tricky. I can't at this point, after 4 in-depth years at studying my motivation, I'm for the most part still clueless about my motivation. And whenever I come up with something about what motivates me, I seem to be right back in the fraudulence game. And it's very, very dicey. We have this thing, when I say it, I call it the self. This character that we play. We play this character in this identity business. And I think that it's very hard to conduct yourself on planet Earth without being in the identity business. So if you come up with anything that doesn't seem to be about making your identity a better identity, I'd love to hear about that. And that's where it's boiled down to me sitting here now. How could this be motivating me if it's not about my identity? And I struggle with that still. And I can tell you that I do this for you. Or I can tell you some altruistic thing, like I'm selfless. But if it didn't validate me and it didn't make me feel like I looked good, I don't know if I would do it. And it's tough because we're really been put here with this equipment. If you kind of take a look, it was like all here when we got here. We got thrown in like a couple of dice. And we landed on a number. And we're in the number. And now we're just kind of, it was all set up before we got here. And now we're kind of going along the business. And if you kind of take a look and see that it, meaning the self, this thing that's talking to us and driving us is very tricky. And it'll say that we're motivated to do this because we're doing that, but seems to be that I can't get out of the looking good business. And it's very difficult. Because it seems to be that it's about my identity at some point, always. And it's tough stuff. And maybe the humility comes when we understand that everything is about our identity. And if we can say that and agree that a lot of stuff we do here, we as Americans probably couldn't just sit and eat carrots. If we were just told, hey, you guys could just plant carrots and eat carrots and build fires, we would easily start getting into the bigger carrot business, the bigger fire business. We would have to find some way to make our identity stronger. And everybody is in this business. I don't care, you're shy. Yeah, that's you being a prick. Being shy and then sitting in the corner and saying, that guy's loud and boisterous. That's a judgment. So you think shy is a better identity than loud and boisterous. So you try to look good by being shy. And now you're mad and judging the guy that looks good by being boisterous. But shy is an identity. Quiet is an identity. All of it is the identity business. And you think that your kid showing up like an addict, that you don't get down with the identity business? What do I say? How can this happen to me? What am I going to tell people? What will they think? And you can't honestly acknowledge that that's what's going on in your head? What will they think? How does this make me look as a parent? You're in the business. If you're not in the business of being honest about that, you're too into the business to acknowledge that you're in the business. And it ain't going to get any better if you're not willing with the humility to acknowledge that you're about that business. So I don't know, because I have a real difficult time explaining my motivation. In fact, a lot of it's a mystery to me. I don't know what it's using me for. It seems to be using me. And it seems to be about the business of never sitting still. And when I'm sitting still, it seems to say, don't sit still. When I'm sitting still and trying to close my eyes, it says, what about your identity? How will they know how awesome you are if you sit here still? That's what it says to me. Try to sit still. Close your eyes tomorrow morning from 7 to 8. Just sit there. And you listen to this thing tell you to get up and go be important. Because there ain't no way it won't. It'll tell you every reason why you can't sit there as if it was the end of the world if you sat there. And then you might even be sitting here and it might be doing it now. You might be saying, I can't sit there because I'm too important. I got bills to pay. This guy don't know me. I know what it just said to you. What do you mean I don't know you? If Barack Obama or Trump could sit still for an hour, maybe you can. Oh no, I can't meditate. I'm too important. Shit. It will not want you to sit there. That's why you can't meditate. Be honest. Well, can I at least garden when I do it? Why? Because I love gardening. And I love when the neighbors see my big fucking garden. No, Art, it's not that. I don't care about the neighbors seeing my garden. I just love gardening. Oh, really? Shit. You got the neighbor, look at my peas. It's about looking good. Check it out. When I said look at your motivation, I knew what I was telling you to look at. Look at this thing inside you that is in the business of looking good. Look at this thing inside you that is in the business of dominating others. Just listen to it. It drives with you down the road and it tells you how you're a better driver than everybody. How can it be that we're all better drivers than everybody? But there it goes. Look at that idiot. Look at that idiot. Look at that idiot. Look at that idiot. Maybe yours doesn't. Probably says everybody's great. Then you're a prick too. That's how you think you look good, calling everybody great. There's no way out of this. The only way out is to realize authentically you're a fraud. That's the only way out. When you have the humility to authentically recognize you're a complete fraud. That is the only way out. Until you reach that state, there is no way out for you. You're still involved in the cover-up. No, I'm not a fraud. That's it. That's the cover-up. Can't you see how quick it happens? If I tell you you're a fraud and you tell me no, I'm not a fraud, that's it. It just protected you. You just listened to it tell you why you're better than everybody else and why you look good. He's wrong about me. There it is again. Come on, tell me up. Jeez.
Someone argue with him. Come on.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with him. That'd be stupid.
He wouldn't look good.
Well, years ago when I came to you guys, when she brought me here, when I came in, I wanted to be the dominant one. I wanted to tell you I was right about his addictions.
Yeah.
And you knew it, and you called me out on it.
Yeah.
You called the racket that I was running, that it was a racket.
Yeah.
And over the years, we've gotten better and better, and I've showed, this has showed up as an opportunity for me with my son's addiction. The more and more I look at it, I want to be dominant over him and make him get out of this bullshit and be back into normal, and that wasn't going to work. That was never going to work.
Right.
And now it's becoming his friend.
Yeah.
Trying to be his friend and try not to be his boss or his father. Try to be his friend and try to do things together and
Someone that can
just be around each other.
Someone that you can kind of just stand beside him and point delicately. It looks good over there. That
Right.
looks okay.
But
What about that?
I just know
Yeah.
that now that it's been more calm, it's like when he has a bad days, I'll call him and say, hey, what's going on? And he'll just it's like, and I was like, hey, we're not here to yell. Let's just talk for a little bit. And we talked a little bit. And by the time we get done talking, he's calmed down, and it's he's just kind of we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So.
It is beautiful. The whole package. Learning to speak to each other from that place.
Oh, back here. Who? Eileen? Awesome.
So I've had something that I've been stewing on for several days now.
Okay.
And I'm upset with my boss.
Yeah.
Because she didn't attend a funeral that I went to this weekend. And it's really bothering me. And what's frustrating is I know it doesn't affect me. It shouldn't be bothering me. What business is it of mine if she went or not?
Yeah.
But I've even been doing little passive aggressive things, like on Monday, I told her, oh my gosh, there were so many people at the funeral. And I listed everybody that we were at the funeral, including one of, in the leadership. And I've been just little things like that, telling everybody I can see.
What do you want? Now, listen, this is a great opportunity right here to ask the first question. So the first question, when I'm in a resentment, when I'm upset like that, you see, I just asked her, what do you want? What do you want? See, she doesn't know what she wants. Now, that's important to understand that we don't know what we want. So what do you want?
I don't know. But I might say, well, it would have been nice had my boss gone to this funeral.
Yeah. Well, that's an impossibility. She didn't go. So what do you want?
No, I don't want an explanation.
No.
Never said that.
Well,
Because it's not my business. I don't know why this is bothering me.
listen. The reason why that you don't know what you want is because I know what you want. What you want right now is you want to be right that your boss is wrong.
No, I realize that.
So-
I'm feeling that I was better to go to the funeral. I had the,
Okay. So if any, right. So listen. This is the thing. Is this in all of our relationships, in the landscape of our relationships? There's this thing that we're asking in here, and it's to become responsible for the relationship. So right now with the relationship, you and your boss, who's responsible for it?
I am.
No, you're not being that though. Right now you're off the hook of responsibility because she's wrong and you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So when you want to take responsibility for the relationship, and what a relationship is space. It's the space between me and my boss. And something right now is in the space between you and your boss. And to take responsibility for the relationship doesn't mean anything but taking responsibility for the space. So she's not taking responsibility for what's in the space. So the way to take responsibility for the space is when we get this thing and we can get honest that we can't let go. Because, see, the only way to not let go of something is to not pick up. And once we've picked up, we can't let go. Remember, acceptance isn't an action. So an acceptance is not an action. Acceptance is a location. So in the relationship with you and your boss, are you currently living in the location of acceptance? No.
I'm not.
Now, if I'm just want to get back to the location of acceptance and be responsible for the relationship, I have to first acknowledge that I'm not in that location. And it's fine to be honest enough to say I'm not in that location. Now, the thing is to approach the space, to be humble, to inquire, and just to take a look. Because you don't know anything about why your boss didn't come to that funeral. You have your theory that you're working on.
Well,
Correct?
no, she told me why she wasn't.
Why didn't she come?
Because her daughter was visiting.
Okay.
And yeah, in my mind, that wasn't a good enough excuse. I don't know. It's just this has been bothering me so much, and I don't want it.
Did you
to.
tell her it was bothering you?
No.
So I know your boss dominates you. I know you're dominated by the relationship with your boss. And the way we avoid the domination of the responsibility of the relationship is we be right. And we make them wrong. And the true power in our lives and the true happiness in our lives comes when we stop avoiding the domination of the relationship and we take responsibility for it. And that's for you to come from a place of calmness and figure out. And that's for you to say there's something in the space and I can't let go of it and I need to talk till there is no more talking. And I don't need to talk to anybody else and build a case against her. See, because that's the first business we do with relationships. We start talking to others to agree with us and to build our case against the other human being.
Yep.
So now you've done that. I know what we do.
I did that.
Yeah.
The other people that went to the funeral.
And so you and those other people are more interested in being right than having a good relationship with your boss. That's just true.
Yeah.
So when I said what you want, if you would come to the domain of, well, I want my relationships in my life to show up like I want them to. Well, good. Then you're going to have to learn to take responsibility for them and quit giving up your power to other people. Because she's got you a certain way. And you're on it with her. People get on it with me all the time. I don't get on it with you. See, I'm not going to get on it with you and go spend the next 3 days thinking about you. If me and you got something in the space, I'm going to go ahead and clear it until there's no more left to clear. And I ain't ever, anybody in this room, I ain't going to somebody else to speak about you. It's me and you. And there's something in the space, and we can, as human beings, we can sit and communicate until there's no more thing in the space. And if I remain calm, I can get that done. But if I don't remain calm, I'll put more shit in the space and leave more pissed off than when I left. That's what people want. But people don't know that they don't know what they want. See, when we're resenting and when we're angry and we're being on it or we're being like we're being and we're complaining and we're having people show up like a complaint, what do you want? Think about that. So the first thing that you do when things are showing up like a complaint is you stop and you breathe and you ask yourself one question. What do I want? And what you'll find is that you don't even know what you want. That you've been just so interested and it feels so good to be right that they're wrong. That's all you really want. You just want to be right and you want others to acknowledge you're right. Some people in this room have complained so much about their kid, I don't know what you want. You just want to be right? Fine, I'll agree. Your kid's a dumb shit. That's good. Now we're complete. We both know your kid's a dumb shit, but here we are. No, I want to explain to you for more time what a dumb shit he is, Art. Well, shit. Pay me. Some people just come to see me to explain what a dumb shit their own kid is. They can't wait. No, Art, I got it. Mine's a real dumb shit. No. I saw the last person leave. There's no way they even have close to the dumb shit that I got. Oh, but by the way, he's real smart. He's real smart. They always had that. No, but actually they don't say he's a dumb shit. They say he's a liar, he's manipulative. My son, very manipulative. I love when I hear that. Oh, he is? Yeah.
So stubborn.
Yeah. Oh, so stubborn. So manipulative. Lies
but
about
he's
it.
really smart and he's really kind.
Yeah.
Over there.
Oh, and they're all charismatic. Women love every one of these guys.
Very sweet.
Yeah. Women love my
We know,
son.
we
Women
know.
love... I don't know.
We have a new couple back here. Could you all introduce yourself? Can we pass this along? They're probably going, what did I walk into tonight?
My name's Jeff.
Gloria Bradbury.
Oh,
Where'd you guys come from?
Lake Taps area.
Bradbury. I was thinking about Cadbury. Wait, no, I'll hook that easy. Please.
What brings you here? How'd you hear about us? What brings you here?
I had a friend I have really good friends of ours whose son went through the program and said it was really good. So our son is struggling. We're all struggling.
Great. How old is he?
How is my son?
How old?
15.
15?
Oh, yeah.
Almost 16.
Cool.
Awesome. And consultation Monday, 9:30?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I checked it out at work.
Consultation.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I'll try not,
Anything
you know,
else?
be honest, did you come here hoping to not look stupid and to not be con?
I feel like I might say no. We actually came with we didn't have any expectations. We didn't know what to think.
What was the conversation like on the way?
We drove separately.
Oh.
He came from work. I came from home. So.
You guys still like each other a little bit or not? Oh, okay. A lot of times this shows up and people stop liking each other. You guys have a real good way of making everybody start fighting.
Well,
You
he's
know?
only 15, so they got here in time.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe.
But you've said a lot of things that are really resonated. And,
Just wait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, that made, hey, I like you.
everything that you were saying about our son this, our son that, like, what are we going to say when we go to the... I don't know
We had this whole paper drawn up about what I should have.
and like a 10-minute dissertation on it.
Yeah. Let me guess, he's very manipulative.
He's very
Oh, okay. Oh, let me guess, he's charismatic, the girls like him, and he's sweet. Okay. Yeah.
He's 15.
And he's very smart, he can figure out anything, he knows how to do things we didn't even teach him. Yeah. I wonder what my parents would have said. My dad would have never said that shit. My son is stupid. That's what my dad used to say. You were so stupid. I mean, my dad used to just look at me and go, "You're such an idiot." He did. You know, I tell the story all the time. Oh, just like, I tell the story, it's a great, this is my father, and I haven't told it in a while, but if you've heard it, I'm sorry, I love his stories, but I'd come off a run where I'd used his credit card, and I took it, you know, and I had this genius thing that I don't think anybody's ever heard of. I'd go to a gas station and buy everybody's gas on the credit card, and they'd give me cash. So then my father would try to shut the credit card off, and I'd run out of cash and come back home. And I came off a long run and a couple days of smoking up his money or whatever I did. And he goes, "Hey, son," sat me down, and he goes, "Let's see how smart you are." And I said, "Okay, Dad." And he goes, "You know, in the safe, I used to keep $3,000 in the safe." And he goes, "I kept that in there in case on the weekends you went to jail." And he goes, "If you're so smart, why do you think I don't need that money anymore?" And I just blurted out immediately, "Because I'm not going to jail." And he goes, "See, that's why you're an idiot." He goes, "I don't need that money anymore because I'm never bailing you out." And he used to just set me up with shit like that all the time. You know? He goes, he met me, and I'm like, my dad's coming to visit me. I'm at Score Jail. You know, I'm excited. Dad's coming. I think I'm getting out, you know? And I'm all dope sick. I've been in there, and I'm like answering the phone in my little orange thing, and he's sitting on the other side, and he looks at me, and he goes, "There's only two types of people back behind that glass." And he goes, "Really stupid idiots or drug addicts." And he goes, "Are you a drug addict?" And I went, He put me in a position that if I said no, I was a really stupid idiot. And I was like, And then he just goes, "Bye, son." And that was it.
All right, we have another one here. What's your name? Emilio.
So, my aunt and my uncle brought me my cousin, and they said I can ask you anything, right?
Yeah.
How do I be independent sober?
Independent sober?
Yeah. I mean, I was independent in my addiction.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I'm new to this, so.
the first thing is to take a look at what mistakes you make from what energy. So you're going to have to start taking a look at your own energy and see when you do damage and see when you hurt yourself. And what you're going to find is you hurt yourself when the energy inside of here is disturbed. When you don't get your way, when things are frustrating, when it's not easy, that you then start making mistakes. So the first thing is to start learning to sit with this energy that's not so easy to sit with. That's the first thing. The second thing is start in this world, in this game of really being independent when we're sober. This game has everything to do with your word. And you will not succeed in this game without your word. See, this game without drugs and without anything, this sober game of being independent and autonomous on this planet, having a home and making money, it has to do with credit, word, and what you give to people and doing what you say. And you have to be able to have your word, and to keep your word, you have to stop doing things from this frustrated energy that has you on tangents all the time and not keeping your word, and having you covering up your energy and lying and trying to feel different. And so the first thing is really to get a sobriety transformational program that starts taking a look at your energy and being able to sit with more difficult energy. And when things are said to you that you don't like, you breathe. When it doesn't go your way, you breathe. And you learn to sit with it. And then you start learning one by one with your relationships to keep your word. See, with everybody in this room, what is true is that I've kept my word. And if I haven't, I've made it up in some aspect, and I've acknowledged the lack of integrity that was. So, as you build your new life, the rules aren't the same as they are in the streets. In this life, your word is everything. In the streets, your gun is something, or what you're going to do, or how you can fight is something. Not here. This is different. The only weapon you have in this game is your word. That's the only weapon we have with people. We don't have anything. Nobody cares about that. You're tough shit over here. They care about what you doing, what you say you're going to do. And you have to look into your energy and see how difficult that becomes when your energy isn't sitting with you well. Then you'll know. Got to get my energy right. Learn to pilot my life smoothly. Learn to just keep my word one at a time with human beings. And build a network of people that will be there for you. You see, the difference between people that are successful in this room and people that struggle, the people that are successful have 500 people to call right now and come help them. How many people do you have? How many people will come down and pick you up at a parking lot for your word? How many people will let you sleep on their couch tonight? How many people will let you into their home and have you walk around freely? And if the answer is very little, then you got work to do. And it's fine. It's not a bad thing, because believe me, at 37 years old, there was no people letting me in their home. But tonight, if I don't have a home, if I don't have things going my way, I've got about 2,000 people that'll take me in now, just based upon my word. So in this game of how to make it and be independent, in sobriety, just your word. You keep it. And you do anything to keep it. And giving your word also means I can't do that. It's also an acknowledgement. Giving your word doesn't mean promising things. Keeping your word as a drug addict and you're in early recovery, it can just be simple as acknowledging that I'm not capable of that right now. If I tell you I'm going to do that, I won't. I'm not good at that. See, keeping your word for me meant telling my folks I can't go to the store alone. That was my word. I didn't say, I can go to the store, I'll make it, I promise. I said, I don't think so. I need you to go with me. I can't go to the store without finding drugs. See, that was me keeping my word. So also acknowledgement simply, hey, listen, I can't do that for you. I can't pay that back. You can't loan me that money. I don't know how I'd ever get that back. If you pay my way, I don't know how to repay you. Well, that's fine. You might not repay people with money, but you can repay them with your word. You can say, I can never pay you back, but I can try to work on this recovery thing and do my best. See, a lot of people think that they're not in a position to even give their word and keep it, but you might be over at the big house and your parents might be paying your way, and you might not be keeping your word to them. Because you might call them and tell them you're giving everything you got. But what you're doing is just hanging out like it's summer camp. And people are paying your way, and that ain't your word. So word is a big, it's the only currency that really matters, isn't it? For those of us that have been in the straight game a little while, it's the only thing that I have. They don't care how much money I got. They care about whether I do what I say I'm going to do. It's a tremendous currency, and I don't think it needs a big, step work to do that. I just think we got to do that. That's the group I did today with the kids. Watch your energy and don't be a dick. And you know when you're a dick. So don't lie about that. And it's that simple. You leave a house, tell people where you're going, and be back when you say you're going to be back. And don't go anywhere else. Don't come back 2 hours later and say, well, I just went here. No, shut up. That ain't it. All right.
We're at the end of I love that title. Okay. All right. My only final announcement is just group coaching. Our next group coaching, it'll either be next Wednesday or the following. I'm shooting for the 3rd. It just depends on need. So if you want to attend the next group coaching session, let's get you signed up now so I know there's a need for next week. And have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy.
Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Thank you.
Becky?
Hold on, real quick.
You said you were going to mention something about a workshop or something?
We'll have that next week. It's in January, but we'll have it all ready for you next week, ready for online registration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week,
Have a good week.
everybody. Good night.